I thought it might be fun to show you a little bit about how I engineer a new prompt. So, if you're curious about prompt engineering, if you are somebody who's, how do I do this more efficiently and not waste a ton of resources while trying to figure this out, then this is maybe a good invitation for you to how you can start to have conversations with your AI that allow you to become a better prompter. So, if all of this is nonsense to you, then I hope that you will just let me do it for you and join my membership if you're not already in it, because the best way to be ethical with your use of AI is to work with somebody who has done the testing already, does it more quickly and thus more efficiently, less energy resources being used, and just has it on a silver platter for you. But if you're like, I really want to learn to do this myself, I did that too. I was at that phase a few years ago and I had to learn by trial and error. And now I get much better results much faster. So I'm going to show you how I engineered a new prompt that came from me scrolling on Facebook. Somebody sent me a friend request, and before I accepted it, I looked at their profile to make sure that they were somebody I wanted to be friends with. And I saw a post. Also, reminder to you, when your name pops up on somebody's feed, they're probably gonna, if they're curious about you, scroll through your page to see what you're about. So make sure that your page reflects what you're about. It's actually what this prompt is about. So you're going to get that as well as a bonus to this video. So I looked at her page and she had this post that was like, if you wouldn't buy from yourself based on your last 5 or 6 posts, how do you expect other people to? And I wanted to know. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Would my audience buy from me based on my last posts? So I asked AI that question. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you the progression of how that went and how I turned that into a prompt, a better prompt. All right, so this is how it started. I said, I want to play a fun game today. I want you right here. I want you to act as a 6 to 7 figure female entrepreneur, my ideal audience. I'm going to give you my last 6 Facebook posts, and I want you to tell me if, based on my posts, you would hire me. Cool. This is not a great layered prompt, but I was having fun. And then I put my posts, just copy and pasted. Some of them were reels, so I described what the reel was about. And then I got my breakdown. And I looked at the breakdown. I barely breezed through it. Great, cool. But what I really liked was the structure of the breakdown. And then my ChatGPT said, want me to do the same for a different 6 batch post? So great invitation, or reverse it, where I show you what would make me hesitate. And I was like, oh, I would like to know what would make you hesitate. And so then I got that. And I liked the structure of that also. So I thought to myself, prompt engineer Diamando, how do I just build that structure into my initial prompt so that I can share this with the people in my membership so that they can get a lot of really valuable feedback in a way that really, you know, doesn't rely on their AI to know as much as mine does, right? Because my ChatGPT, my LLM, is giving me this stuff because it knows the type of stuff that I generally want. It knows the types of conversations that I have. So I can't count on somebody else's AI being able to come up with all of that stuff just based on this prompt. No, that's why you need a layered prompt. That's why you need specific instructions and outlines and examples and structure. So I'm going to show you what I did to build that structure and what you can do. I went into a different chat and I said, I want to build a prompt that helps AI analyze a person's posts. I want you to analyze my conversation with ChatGPT to help me come up with a universal prompt that helps people see what's working and where they have room to improve. The prompt needs to have space for them to input information about who their ideal audience is, and preferably they would be directed to speak about them in a voice note and drop the transcript because that's my method, right? And I always want people to feel encouraged to use their voice, to speak, to take the conversation away from the computer. Anyhow, this way the AI can get some tone of voice context. This is the question I initially asked ChatGPT. Then I gave it my 6 posts. This is the continuation of the conversation that I want built into a prompt template so someone could get similar output. And then I put the whole conversation that I had over here into my request. Sorry, I have to keep scrolling. And I got a prompt that had a bunch of code in it, which is not something that I can easily share on Facebook or in my membership and is not really user friendly visibly. So I didn't like that output format. So I told it, I want the prompt to be something someone can use with all types of formats. For example, I had a reel in my last 6 posts. I gave a quick description of what the reel was about. And then I thought to myself, but I guess I can put that in the user instructions. And then I said, the prompt feels a little robotic as is. Maybe it could be more fun. And then it was fun, but still had the code. And so I said, okay, I like this excerpt, but this element already appears. You're replicating it. And I want this to be copy pastable without any coded aspects. And then I got another version and I realized that the prompt was built assuming that everyone has my ideal client, which is not the case. So I gave it specific instructions on how to shift that. And we came up with a great prompt and then a follow-up prompt. But that's a little bit about how you engineer a new prompt. You get specific, you are super clear with your intention first. You tell the AI what is working and what isn't working, and you just allow it to be a work in progress until you get the output that you want. And once you have that once, you start to see how things are laid out to give you like a really usable prompt that then you can duplicate over and over again. So you're actually using less like personal energy, time energy, and also ecological energy. Do it once, do it well, learn the process, and everything gets better. And also make sure you test your output. I did that next. That was the next phase, but we're not going to get into that right now. That's a little bit about an intro to prompt engineering from somebody who has zero background in tech, but is really great at AI because I'm really great at communication. And that's truly what you need. You need to be able to communicate with yourself, what you desire, what you intend to do, and need to be able to communicate that in a way that a computer understands it. But computers these days understand you when you are being your human self, as long as you're clear about what you want, what you need to achieve, and who you're speaking to. So yeah, let me know if you start playing around with engineering your own prompts. I'd love to hear about it.